Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you for stopping by once again. This particular video is strictly concerned with real estate, both the problems that you may face when you come down to rent or to buy a property, and an effective means of dealing with that. So let's get on with it. First off, there are problems that have occurred in this real estate market from the beginning. And they occur in most of the real estate markets I have seen in operation all over the world. There are very few countries, the United States, for example, that has a multiple listing service. I understand at least some of the Canadian metropolitan areas use an MLS too. But I'm talking now, for those who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about at all, with systems that have effective ways of bringing the properties all together under one listing, but by agent and agency, but all together in one location where people can see all the homes in a particular metropolitan area, for example, that meet their particular requirements. And they narrow it down before they even go out and take a look at things. And the systems that are used are very strict, and any change in the status of the property has to be noted immediately up on the website as quickly as possible, or I should say in the database, which is what is being used for a multiple listing service. And so if it's sold, it's sold. It may still appear, but it will be clearly marked as sold, so there's no mistake about it. You may want to see it just to make a comparison to a recent sale, for example. There are also some broader sites in North America, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, people who live up there know what I'm talking about. They also list a great deal of information as well about properties all over the country. So an MLS might help you if you go to Seattle, Washington, for example, and you're looking for property in that general area. But the Zillow might be able to show you if areas there, well, not might, it will be able to show you properties there and in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and in Atlanta, Georgia, and so forth. So they have all sorts of ways of dealing with these things. And they usually involve some sort of rules and regulations that require that the agent be honest and forthright and things are done the right way, okay? The ethical way. That didn't work before there was such a system. That works because there is such a system. An attempt to get one started here is underway. It has a long ways to go. And when it gets to it someday, that'll be fine. But in the meantime, this market is like most markets, although some others will have general sites and so on. Here in Panama, as in most areas, there are a variety of sites. Encuentra 24 is one that many of you have seen, and that shows properties in many different countries in the region. So it's a common situation. Now, but it doesn't prevent them from, it doesn't have any form of rule or regulation that they can enforce that keeps these presentations, these listings honest. So what can happen? Especially now, I want to stress the fact that you're coming into a property market that, like many around the world, that was dead for a while due to lockdown here and elsewhere, and just there's no movement. Whereas the big developers who build the developments, they have major loans with the banks. They can work out a system, a bridge loan, whatever, with the bank to keep them going. These agencies that are made up of, to sell the properties generally, they just don't have that sort of clout with the bank, and they're not going to get that kind of loan easily. There may be something for them, but boy, they have got to move fast, make sales, and bring in the commissions just as quickly as possible once the market starts to gain a little traction again, which is what's happening currently. And I watch carefully what happens currently, and I'm not happy because some of the practices that were not as common before are now getting to be altogether too common because people need the money. Okay? And I understand that, but you need your money too. So what are some of the things that are done? If I'm looking at a list here, I keep a few that we've had reported. One thing often when you're new to the market, they can figure that out within minutes, seconds. You don't really know your way around, and you give your list of things that you want: 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, a view of the bay, and blah, 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 something of this sort. in the city, for example, they will take you to one of the properties that will meet those needs, but may have other problems. It may be the kind of property that a local person would go to, or someone like myself who's been here a while, and say, no, have you checked for this? Have you checked for that? And so on. It's going to be one of the harder ones to sell to somebody who knows the local market, is savvy. Savvy is a good way of putting it. But it's not, you're not that person. So they're hoping, if they can sell that to you, great. They don't want to sell you the best that you're not going to appreciate because you don't know they're the best. All right? So why not save that for somebody who is going to be demanding and more discriminating and know what they're talking about? All right? Now, so you need to keep that in mind. The way to deal with it is if you have any questions at all about it. In fact, there's a number of properties here, folks. I just turn the first couple down if I had any problems at all with it. And just see, you get down to the third property, usually people start opening up because they want to get this thing done. All right? But that's one thing. Now, the manager in an agency is going to be coming down on his or her agents. You got to bring in a certain amount of income every month. You got to get commissions. Sales are better than rentals, so place your emphasis on that. We can give rentals to somebody junior and so on and so on. But whatever you do, I want you to, the first three properties you sell them, for example, this is just an example, should be properties that we list so that if they're sold, we get the full commission. If you can't meet their needs with one of our listings, talk to me. I want to be sure that's the case. Otherwise, you can begin to look at other properties, and we'll take the half commission from some other agency and be satisfied with that. Now, they're not happy with it, but they'll take it because you got to get this client on the way and on to the next one. Or another item, you can see the same property, say 3 different sites, real estate sites on the internet, each time with a different price. And sometimes different description. The acreage changes, or hectareage in this case, the number of hectares. It's really a very bizarre situation. You realize that's exactly the same property. What's going on here? Well, nobody's stopping them. And then the different prices. Oh, yes. There's an old system here that is really, really disliked. Now, I just really dislike it. But it's let's say older people are very much aware of it, and I think younger ones too. But the fact is that what they'll say to you is that I want $250,000 in the sale of this condo. If you can get $300,000 for it, fine. The $50K is yours. In other words, you take as much as you want, and it's yours. So if you can get that, fine. I need my $250,000. Well, now that can lead the same agent to show it at $275, to show it at $295, to show it at $315, and see what happens in different sites. I mean, the $315 is probably unlikely, but hey, it's all unlikely, but that's how it works. Sometimes, in a normal quote-unquote market, that may have worked for some people before they were discovered and get an angry client, but in this sort of market, it's very dangerous thing to do because you're just going to be, everything's too expensive compared to what it should be. Anyhow, they'll do it. Now, and then what last one I'll mention here is the old bait and switch. I've seen this played and just really drives me to distraction. And this is where you put up a property, it's really cool, and it's got a great price. It's not outrageous, but it really is exceptional. And hey, this is a tough market, and they seem to be realistic, and this sounds really good for this price compared to others I've seen. And you call, and you say, I want to see this property. And they say, oh, yeah, sure. And they'll set up the appointment, and you go, and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. We just sold that. I have, however, some other excellent properties that fit what your needs, which turn out to not be so excellent at all, more often than not. Now, that property they were talking about, the one you saw up there on the internet, as if it were still on sale, that's the bait. and they are not required to take it down the moment it's sold. They're expected to, but they're not required to. They're paying for that ad, and they don't and have every intention of they'll do with it whatever they want to. If it still draws people into their office, if it gets them on email with them, if they can get, so to speak, in touch with this potential buyer, that's great. It's a reason to keep it up there indefinitely as long as it's drawing attention. Maybe even shift the price up or down a little bit to recognize changes in the local market. I mean, come on. I hate bait and switch. I really do. I despise it. And finding this property, rental place I have, that was done to me by my first agent, and I almost wrung her neck. I mean, it was so blatantly obvious what she was doing, and I was not pleased at all. So you have this sort of situation, and it's going to get worse. Oh, not get worse. It will be worse until the agencies and the agents can finally get stabilized again from an income perspective, and that could be a while. So they're not evil people. They're just trying to feed their families and pay for their school fees and everything else, just like everybody else. But the sad truth of the matter is that your agent may really, in effect, be an agent for the sellers, or at the very least, an agent for their agency, and not so much an agent for you. So how do you avoid this? How do you get around it? Well, it's not easy. The key element here is the agent. You get a good agent, a really good agent, you're in great shape, but you're probably not going to know that. It's just an agent that you have met. And the reason you don't have as many as you should is because they're not recognized. They don't get any recognition for being good. As far as you're concerned, they're just doing their job just like the bad agent that you might have gone to instead, or the mediocre agent that you very likely might have seen instead. But you won't know that you've just seen a really good agent. So what good does that agent? Not much, okay? As you know, well, some of you know, I so rarely speak about it here at the YouTube. I think maybe half a dozen times out of the last 50, 60 videos. And that is, we had a Metro Match project. We have a whole page up at the Retirement Wave site on it, which I completely forget about sometimes. That's going to have to go down and be changed now. Why? Because I have spent weeks now and working on this, testing a system out, finding the right person. I found the right person. I sort of suspected I knew the right person from the beginning, but I didn't know if the right person was going to be available, and that was the critical thing. So I had to look at more than one. And anyhow, he is available. And his name is Maurice Bellinger, and you will be introduced to him in our website for this effort in a short distance, and eventually here on the video. If he's willing, I don't know what he feels about being videoed. But anyhow, Maurice is a great guy. He is a very intelligent man. He's a Panamanian, born and raised. Got his bachelor's degree in Barton College in North Carolina. Went on to Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania to get his MBA. It's one of the best programs in the world, certainly in the U.S. And back then, when he was in it, definitely so. There's more competition now, but back then there was a lot less. He had to be very sharp, and he was. Came down, he worked in the shipping industry for 37 years, which is what you do when you're down. This is for a long time was the way you make a decent salary. He's a certified public accountant, which is handy to have on the side too. Dead fluent in English, as you might imagine. You don't get through Wharton without being able to write the language as well as speak it, and it's not an easy language to write. Once he retired from that, he went in to work with the what's called the Panama American Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The short form is PanAmCham. It is what in any other country would probably just be called the American Chamber of Commerce, representing American businesses in that country. Because of the special history that Panama has with the U.S., this is the PanAm, the Panama American Chamber, because we have so many American firms, but also so many Panamanian firms and others who have joined. It is the largest of its kind. It does a lot of work. It offers all sorts of activities. It's a good thing to be a part of. And he was he joined its staff and he founded and led the first real estate committee, specifically to look at the issues regarding the ethics and the practices of the sale of properties and their rental here in Panama. That's where I met him, and I don't remember exactly how I got invited to that meeting or why I knew he was going to. I didn't know who he was, actually, at the time. I was introduced to him because he was the chair, and he was introduced to everybody. And I attended some of the meetings, and I got to know him. And he won an eternal place in my heart because every year he'd give me one of their calendars set up on my desk, so I'd have a calendar. But we were just professional friends, that's all. Nothing special. He certainly couldn't do anything with me in a business sense because he had his position, and that didn't allow for that. Because he went on from that position to become effectively the CEO, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce for 5.5 years. I mean, that's as far as you go up in a very important role. The result is he knows just about everybody in many different parts of the business world, banking included, and real estate and so forth. So he's a very well-known person. He is certainly known as an ethical, straight arrow. He has struggled hard to get something done as much as possible in that regard. And I liked him a lot. And we shared a lot with each other, and I grew to respect him, and he grew to respect me. And over the years, I thought to myself, he would be the perfect person for this. But I didn't know whether he really wanted to. He didn't have to. He has his own real estate business. It's a small firm. He and his wife and his daughter run it. He doesn't need more money, but he's not a rich man, but he has his pension from business, and he has his pension from the chamber and so on. He's not complaining. He's a modest man. So that's fine by him. But finally, I had a couple cases where were important to me, that people I wanted well dealt with, particularly, and whom I thought would appreciate his style. And I was right on the target. Did a wonderful job with both of them. And the first group, couple, it turned out they couldn't be here all full time, so they actually hired him as their property manager when they were not in the country. So that shows their attitude toward him. The other one, we were right in the very final end of the process of the sale of the purchase of his home here. They're very wonderful people to begin with, but I was very impressed by Maurice's ability, his ethics right across the board. We sat with another couple who are very fine people. I'm sure they're watching today's video. They're from another nation in South America. And the recommendation, their request was really for assistance that, well, I wasn't there at the time. We all had our talk. I had my suspicions that there might be more to it than I could see in the surface. It turns out that there were some activities that they wanted him to do or to help them do that he could not do ethically. So he turned them down, and they went on their way. That's exactly the right thing to do. He said, he sort of apologized to me. I said, why? That's exactly what you should do. I would have really done exactly the same thing if I'd been there. The more we were together, the more we realized that the other one was actually honest, that he really meant what he said, that he practiced what he preached. And as a result, when I began to see some of the reports coming in, and I had this experience, and I saw it was working well, we have formed what we call a strategic partnership between his business, this is where my business is involved, Panama Wave, and his business, which is his real estate firm. It's meant to provide you with the kind of support you need to get this job done objectively and honestly and ethically, all right? To meet these needs and to avoid all these pitfalls, and you to be secure in that knowledge. And it boils down to you meet with him and with me together. I talk more about the general situation in Panama and this, that, what have you. He, of course, is going to be the one who is takes you around to see a rental property or one to purchase, and he needs to get a better idea, and so on and so on. And then he works for you, and we see our best to try to meet your needs. You're under no obligation. It's just, visit with them. You can judge for yourself. I think the best way to judge with somebody is to sit with them and talk to them directly. And you don't pay a penny for any of this. Maurice gets the money. He is the agent. He's the only one who can receive money, the commission, from the seller, not from the buyer, from the seller, as it would be anywhere else, pretty much. And that money is his legally, and there's no question about that. He can share some with me, and he insists that he will. And that's the idea, is that I will have costs associated with it, and I've borne all the costs of creating the website, of the long period of testing, a lot of other things that have to go on with this. And he understands that. But here's something you will not hear very frequently in Panama. We have no written agreement. It hasn't even come up as a subject. We don't need one. We don't have to talk about it. This is when you got two older guys working together. Because we have what in English was said in the old days when these things actually occurred. We have a gentleman's agreement. And I'm sure these days, if it were such, it could be a gentlewoman's agreement as well. And a gentleman's agreement simply means that you two are both gentlemen. You're honorable people. And if you've come to an agreement and you shake hands on it, it's a contract, even though it's not in paper anywhere. And because it's not on paper, you don't have anything to show in court. Forget it if it came to that. It's not going to come to that. I mean, my attitude is, both of us, if either one of us needs to leave for some reason, we go. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can be with you because, I anticipate I will get something from that, but it's not going to be anywhere near the majority. It'll be a small portion of what he gets, a minority portion of what he gets, which he earns. Because he will put a lot of time and work and energy into helping you. And it's per hour. For a rental, it's not a lot of money. For a purchase, it can be more. But the point is it can also be a lot more work for a purchase and so forth. So that's what I'm going to stop right here and say, this is the real thing. This is something I feel very intensely about. The Panama Wave site, some of you already know about that, has been completely changed and relaunched, and I'm going to encourage you to go and take a look at it because it focuses solely on this effort and gives you more detail. All right. As for some of you will know that one of the things I've been eager on for years here has been helping areas that have something special to offer, that are very inexpensive land, to get developed so as to spread the wealth, so to speak, to other portions of the country that deserve it, and where jobs need to be created, but where there's really a payback to the person who buys. And that's what I've been doing with Lake Bayano, as most people know. It's not up at the site now, but its site is still steaming along, and it's still of concern to me. We will be setting up another section where we talk about these opportunities. And the reason I don't make a big deal about it here, among others, is that it's straight business and they're expensive. They're very expensive. They're not meant for a home buyer or something like that, unless you're very wealthy and you want a private estate, and then they're perfect, okay? But otherwise, it would be for tourists or residential development or whatever. We're trying to get people interested in this other section of the country, and we may show some other efforts in other parts of the country as well as we see fit. But that will come up in its own separate section. I hope to get it up there fairly soon once I've got the other 32 things done that I need to get done. But at least the Lake Bayano site is still functioning. I wanted you to know I wasn't turning my back on that for a minute. Okay, so that is fundamentally it. And I will again say it's PanamaWave.com. I was about to close this and I realized I'd forgotten to mention something I did want to add. At retirementwave.com will be a new newsletter coming out. It's going to be talking about this Panama Wave, of course, that action, but also a lot of other stuff, a lot of updating of statistical information and things of this sort that people are used to seeing in reports. So that will be coming out. Of course, you know me, it never comes out quite as quickly as I want it to. I want it to be done in the month of October, but that's assuming everything else works out well for me. I get enough time to sit and just do what needs to be done. But it is going to happen. If you subscribe at retirementwave.com, at the bottom of any page, you will get a copy of it automatically sent to you. If not, I will have it here from time to time, at least in at least one or two of the videos. And if you catch those, you can pick it up there. No big deal. It's no advertising, and it's easy to unsubscribe.